But now it's on to the product. And for that, I'd like to introduce the Head of Research and Development for Clean Air Zone, Corey McPhee. Corey, take it away.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to do a quick screen share here, make sure we get the right screen shared first of all. Okay, so a little introduction to the company. So I work in the research and design department at Clean Air Zone, and we design green air purification technologies. And for the past 4 years, I've been privileged to work with a great team of engineers, scientists, biologists, award-winning industrial designers, and technicians. And so to introduce you to the project that we've been working on, we want to start out by kicking it off with a quick presentation video.
Nothing can replace the feeling of breathing clean, healthy air. But we live indoors, and we are all exposed to many types of pollutants, ultrafine particles, allergens, mold. Bacteria and viruses are too small to be removed from indoor spaces by traditional ventilation systems. So how can we bring the benefits of clean, healthy air found in nature into our lives? How can we turn this into this? Introducing Clean Air Zone, a revolutionary technology as old as the Earth, a 100% green technology that purifies the air. Utilizing the same type of enzymes that cleansed the atmosphere of the planet 3 billion years ago, the Clean Air Zone system purifies the air. First, the Clean Air Zone air purifier uses the efficient water wash capture method to trap pollution inside the device. Second, once contaminants are captured by the device, they're digested by the enzymes contained in the unique biological formula dissolved in water. The very first purification system that doesn't use filters. Clean Air Zone is here to help to create healthy environments in public spaces, workspaces, and homes. Clean Air Zone, a revolutionary green technology as old as the Earth.
So as all of us know, really the world back in March changed overnight for us. And the reality is that COVID-19 really opened our eyes to the need to pay attention to the quality of the air that we breathe. But one thing we want to be aware of is that once the fear of COVID-19 is behind us, we're going to face some new challenges. And we are going to be looking at air quality in a different way. Essentially, we're going to have a new normal. And if we think about it, we've gone through this before. If we think about the water that we drink, many of us when we were younger, certainly myself when I was a kid, we would drink water directly out of the tap. My parents drank water directly out of the tap. My 3 children will not drink water directly out of the tap. The new normal for them is it's got to be filtered or it has to be in a bottle. That's the new normal. And so we're going to see the same thing now when it comes to air purification. That is going to be the new normal. If we look at what's out there, there's a lot of problems with the current technologies. As you can see some of them on the screen in front of you right now, being that they are harmful to the environment, they fill landfills. Some of the technologies use mercury vapor bulbs. Those end up in the landfills. So we want to take a lot different approach at CAZ, at Clean Air Zone. Instead of bringing you something new, we're actually going to bring you something old. So what we did is we asked ourselves, how has nature been cleaning the air for billions of years while we sit here and try to invent new ways to clean the air? And the answer that we came to when we did our research into it was quite simple. Nature uses microbiotics and enzymes. And so for billions of years, microbiology has worked efficiently at cleaning the environment. So the question we asked ourselves after that is, how can we bring nature inside? How can we use what happens naturally on planet Earth to clean indoor air? And so here's what we found. We found that step one that nature uses is capturing the pollution. So in nature, one of the most efficient ways that it does that is with falling water. The fact is that falling water attracts and captures aerosols. Studies on the effects of waterfalls and rain on air quality have proven beyond a doubt that falling water has an amazing ability to capture and to coagulate or bring together these airborne contaminants. Step two is that nature actually destroys this pollution. These microbiotics and enzymes that are natural, they've been cleaning planet Earth for billions of years. Doesn't matter whether it's soil, water, or air, they're there, they're present. And so they actively go to work, they digest pollution very effectively. As a matter of fact, without it, we wouldn't be here today. So what we've done is we've taken these basic concepts and we've brought it indoors. So by forcing interaction between air and falling water, we were able to maximize the capture rate of contamination without the use of filters. So we have a quiet yet powerful fan that pulls air into our system, and it allows it to interact with the falling water inside. Now, studies have shown, both lab research and actual real-world studies, that this high-efficiency water wash method that we've developed results in incredible capture rates of many types of pollutants. These would include particulates, VOCs, bacteria, mold, viruses, and the list goes on and on. Now, we weren't happy with just capturing the pollution. So then what we did is we did step two that nature uses. We used natural enzymes and microbiotics to break down and digest these captured pollutants. We didn't just want to transfer the problem from point A to point B, which is what typically happens with standard filtration. So we have a proprietary blend of some of nature's most powerful biology that we've concentrated it and we've added it to the purifier. And this results in really rapid degradation of this pollution. In turn, we've gone ahead, we've done high resolution DNA testing, and this has shown complete destruction of a lot of the contaminants that really plague us today. Things such as MRSA, tuberculosis, Legionella, and COVID-19. So to further explain this technology, let's take a look at a second video that goes into a little further detail.
Many new technologies claim to innovate and improve the world we are living in, but Clean Air Zone is the only green technology of the future that uses a natural process that is 3 billion years old. Here is why we are different. First, it is the only air purifier that replicates nature. Clean Air Zone is the only air purifier that sustainably captures and digests contaminants the same way the Earth does, but faster. The Clean Air Zone system uses a proprietary microbiotic solution dissolved in water, removing the need for filters or UV bulbs. Second, 100% green technology. The Clean Air Zone device uses natural microbiotic enzymes that create zero waste while doing zero harm to the environment. Third, one of the most effective technologies in the marketplace. Clean Air Zone Next-Gen Green technology can capture ultrafine particles of 0.0001 micron or smaller, which is much smaller than any other technology. Fourth, our revolutionary green biotechnology air purifier cleans, purifies, and digests the DNA of COVID-19, as well as H1N1 virus, MRSA, mold, and many other microorganisms with our proprietary natural microbiotic enzymes. 5. Easy installation. The Clean Air Zone system only needs a single source of water and a single power outlet. This makes installation easy and avoids the need for modifications to building infrastructure. 6. CAZ Green technology becomes stronger over time the longer it is running. The proprietary BioCAZ solution-based system experiences no loss of airflow, and as the biology count naturally increases, so does its ability to destroy contamination. Clean Air Zone. Only nature can replace nature.
So as you can see, there's tremendous benefits to this technology. Certainly it is green. It's a safe yet powerful method to capture and destroy pollution out there. When it comes to being green, there's no filters to change, no mercury vapor bulbs to throw out. Nothing like that's going to end up in a landfill when you go with a product like this. The ability to capture super fine particles down to 0.0001 micron is unheard of in the industry. And this system doesn't have any reduction of airflow. Standard filters, when they're tested, they work great. But what happens once they start to plug up? They start to lose airflow. When they lose airflow, they lose efficiency. And once they lose efficiency, they're just not filtering anymore. So again, that's not an issue. Actually, the opposite is true of this technology. Instead of losing efficiency, this technology actually increases in efficiency over time. The way it works on the inside, as you saw, is that we have microbiotics and enzymes. Now we're creating an environment that's conducive for them to grow, to thrive. And so as they grow in colony count, they just become stronger. And as they become stronger, their ability to break down, digest pollution just increases. So it's quite amazing, really, when you think about it. This is a low maintenance machine. It's cost effective. The technology is also scalable. So what you're seeing here is something designed for residential and office applications. But again, we can scale this up to large commercial industrial applications as well. No harmful byproducts. And we've got one filter, one purifier, pardon me, not a filter, one purifier that's really designed for a large array of contamination. And you just don't get that anywhere else. So compared to any other product on the market, it's really unbeatable. So we don't expect you to take our word for it. The data really proves the point. So we're going to go into our last brief video that shows a couple of some of the data that we've collected, and in particular, one case study that we have to show.
We are proud to announce that the technology used by Clean Air Zone has proven its effectiveness in eradicating the presence of the COVID-19 virus in the air. The prestigious Assured Bio Laboratory, located in Knoxville, has demonstrated the efficiency of Clean Air Zone using a type of test based on DNA. The president of Assured Bio Labs, Dr. Sobek, was in charge of the project.
They had this novel technology for removing microbes from the air. I was just really amazed at how powerful this technology was.
Assured Bio Lab carried out a test of the Clean Air Zone technology. The results were unbeatable. In less than 10 minutes, the biological solution found inside the machine dissolved and made the COVID-19 completely disappear.
The biology in the Clean Air Zone system was just amazing. Within 10 minutes, it totally degraded coronavirus that we put into the biological solution.
In 2018, Dr. Sobek recommended Clean Air Zone for a very complicated project that took place in the MoMA Museum of New York.
I was working on a project for the Museum of Modern Art in New York City, and we had this big installation that we were going to do, and we had to bring all the sugarcane in. Well, the problem with bringing sugarcane in, it can produce a high concentration of mold. And basically, we had 8 of these Clean Air Zone machines in this exhibit. We monitored the air weekly, and we had very low concentrations of particles, very low concentrations of mold.
The art show was a success, thanks to the help of Clean Air Zone.
The Clean Air Zone technology allowed us to have that success, which I'm very grateful for.
Clean Air Zone is here to help. We are all in this together.
So we're excited to launch the new Model 100 Clean Air Zone Purifier. And now that you've joined us today to be among the first to have a sneak peek at this truly new market technology, we want to give you guys a little heads up that production is targeted to begin in Q2 of this year, 2021. We don't want to just stop there with the US market. We're excited to get this out there to the rest of the world. So we really want to start looking at working with strategic partners and distributors to make this happen. So thank you again for attending, and I'll hand the meeting back over to Steve to moderate.
Thanks, Corey, and apologize if my schnauzer is howling in the background. I'm sure it's some good reason for that. What I'd like to do now is kind of throw the floor open to questions. Brian, I don't know if we have any in the chat, but if we do, great. If not, if anybody just wants to hop on and ask, fire away, please do so.
Farouk has been active in the chat here, and he has a comment, sort of question that says, like that you're starting with residential before commercial. I know personally who would be interested in this type of solution. So positive remarks there. And he's also asking, presumably this would be great for people with allergies.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, there's
Actually,
a couple more in here. Oh,
well, I'd like to throw in one question
okay.
real quickly. I noticed that in the MoMA video, it looks like there were multiple units in a large space. How many units would you need to cover what size space?
Stefan, you want to handle that or do you want me to?
You can handle that. It's fine.
Okay.
No problem.
So based on normal pollution levels, we're rating this unit to handle about 700 square feet. I mean, obviously,
1200.
sorry?
700 to 1200 for that
Yeah.
unit.
Between 700 and 1200. Obviously, if you're in an environment where there's extreme air pollution, then those numbers will change. But with standard 8-foot ceilings, you're looking at 700 to 1200 square feet coverage.
And then Corey, Melissa had a question. Could you go over again about the water source and the power source that's needed, probably both from a commercial and then a residential standpoint?
Sure. Okay. So for the 100 series, very, very, very simple. The unit's 24 volt DC, comes with its own power adapter. You just plug it into the wall like you would any other appliance. Uses very little power consumption. And as far as the water source, you have a couple of options. You do have the option to direct plumb it in the same way that you would plumb in like a filtered water cooler. I'm sure back when we used to work at offices, we all know how those get plumbed in. Very simple to do, 1/4-inch line goes into it. Alternatively, you can fill it manually, just like you would water a plant from time to time. And it's really that simple. Just add water.
Great. Catherine has a question. Is there any type of population control or cleaning needed for the microbiome inside?
Okay, very good question. So we mentioned how minimal the maintenance is in the presentation. So once a year, all you have to do is just dump out what's collected in the bottom. Obviously, it's going to break down a lot of the pollution, but there will be some residue on the bottom. It's pretty simple. You just dump it down the toilet. It's safe. It's not going to cause any issues, and you're done. Also, periodically, every 4 months, you're going to add a small amount of microbiotic solution to keep those colonies healthy. And we provide that.
Someone asked the standard question when you have any sort of new product and talking about the pricing. If you want to maybe go over that in generality or specific as you can.
Well, actually, we're going to try to sell this through distributorship, but the suggested retail price will be $14.95 for the machine, and then there is the unit cost of the solution that we put throughout the year. Also, that it's about $99 a year. That will be the only cost left on the retail level.
Got it. Yeah, that was a follow-up question, the microbiotic solution. So 99 per annual cost there. There's a question here. Is there any concern of buildup if using unfiltered water from a municipal source?
Another great question. We've actually been testing it nonstop on municipal water supplies. New York City is where we're located. Actually, New York City has water that plugs filters up faster than any city. It seems in America. They got a real fine silt. In those situations, we do recommend pre-filtering. We can supply the filters for that. But other than that, we haven't had any other issues.
Corey, you mentioned that you started this process 4 years ago. Can you sort of talk about the COVID-19 and how that accelerated things and how that obviously changed probably your marketing path as well?
Sure. We didn't see it coming. So it kind of caught us all by surprise. Originally, we were focusing on other contaminated environments. We've been working on some projects where mold is a huge issue. We've been working on projects where VOCs were a huge issue. So once COVID hit, We worked right away with a lab that was mentioned in the video down in Knoxville, Tennessee. They started doing the testing, and we didn't know what to expect. But when we saw degradation at the DNA was not even traceable after 10 minutes, we were absolutely shocked. So yeah, we've done a lot of testing. The white papers are available. The research is available on our website. So we'd encourage you to go and take a look at that.
Yeah, that's very impressive after 10 minutes. And you wonder how, from a public safety standpoint, this could be utilized in public spaces, commercial spaces, homes, residents, colleges, hospitals. I mean, it's an amazing capability. So, Stefan, maybe you want to talk then about being a research and development company and what sort of strategic partners you are looking for, and that aspect that at CES has a lot of people looking for what's the hottest things coming out, and this is obviously something that people are going to be excited to learn about.
Sure, Brian. Mostly when we're looking at strategic partners, they can be in anywhere between air conditioning companies or other types of companies that have the knowledge of manufacturing. Even though we do have already in place the manufacturing, both here in America as well as North America, and as well as in Canada and in China, that are ready to produce the machines. We're still looking for this partner that can put it all together, and so we can market it and bring it to the home, bring it to commercially, and also bringing in the larger units. We have units that are 300 units that are much larger units, and we have for commercials, for supermarkets also, that we've had a lot of success. So really it's a matter of finding the right partner that can bring us to this market.
Thank you, Stefan. A question and a comment from Pesto Champion. I think he's from the other side of the pond. It said it eradicates molds too. That is awesome in damp UK climates. And then he has a general question. How often does it need to be refilled? So maybe from a consumer standpoint, if you have it in your family room, and you don't have the filtration system to a water source, and you have a 5-gallon or whatever you use, if you can maybe talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So what's interesting about the units is that this is a living ecosystem inside of this. So it really reacts to the pollution. In more polluted environments, they tend to go through more water. But on average, we've seen, if you can add maybe about 1 gallon or 2 per week is what it'll go through. So that's pretty typical.
And someone also is very, noticed you have a unit behind you, Corey, in the office there. Is that a working unit, or is that a staged prop? If you can tell us how your experience with it has.
Yeah, no, that's a real working unit. So being in research and development, we've been surrounded by just about every model that we've been working on nonstop. So obviously we've had a few challenges here and there along the way, and that's typical, but the units work great. We've got them on every floor of our building. We have them in our homes. So we've been very happy with the progress we've made. And I mean, they work amazing, but we really wanted to start working with industrial designers to make sure that not only do they work well, but that the user interface is going to be easy for the consumers, and that it looks beautiful too. So.
Great. Open up the floor to anybody else. Yeah, how does the user monitor its effectiveness? In other words, how do you have a testing before you go in to see if you have a lot of pollutants in your house, and then you can sort of say after a month's usage it's XYZ, or maybe?
So what we've done with all the studies in the past, I mean, we've worked with a lot of labs that have given us the data. We're supplying all of that data. So before we go in, at least with the case studies we've done, we've done monitoring for 1 to 2 weeks before we even put a unit in. We monitor it during, and then we monitor it after. We've done that for quite a few different scenarios with different pollutants. So that data is all available. Obviously, that's not cheap. It's pretty expensive stuff. For the average homeowner to do that is probably not going to be cost effective. But there are some other monitors on the market that they could probably grab on Amazon that would give them, a good baseline and be able to help them monitor as they go.
Okay, Corey. Other folks have any questions? Commercial use, residential use, how it works, the waterfall
In fact,
process?
feel free to take yourself off mute and just pop in and ask a question if you have any. Farouk is asking, what's the background of the company?
Okay. Well, it is US based. We do have researchers from all over the country, and Corey is actually from Canada. And RD, we have engineers also, but mostly it's a US company.
I think he was also kind of looking for, the foundation. Who created it? Where did that come? Did you grow out of other companies? That sort of thing.
Corey, you want to go with that?
Sure. So actually, one of our scientists, a lot of this research came from New Jersey Institute of Technology, where they had a whole team working on this for over a decade. And then he really refined the research on it. They're able to isolate these, as you know, there's billions of strains of biology out there. They were able to isolate specific ones that are safe. These aerobic bacteria do a very good and aggressive job at breaking down the pollution. And then came the application. How do we use this inside? How do we keep these microbiotics alive and healthy? And then not only that, how do we bring the air in contact with it in an efficient way that it can be really aggressive at grabbing and breaking down the pollution? So it's been research that's been ongoing for quite a while. And it took a while to refine. As you know, this isn't a product, this hasn't been done before. This isn't something you can buy on the market right now. So this is novel technology. It's a lot of years of research in it. It's not something that we just decided to start doing because COVID sprung up. But yeah, that's basically the background. It all started in a lab.
It looks like there's another question in the chat, Brian. About pricing. We'll get back to you on that one directly, Suzanne.
Someone has a question about outside uses. Is it safe to use outdoors, let's say in a pool or patio or garden area, competing with nature?
Well, I don't think it is nature. Certainly, it's safe to put outdoors, but the design was really intended for indoor use. I mean, nature does a pretty good job at taking care of itself. So we're not going to try to replace nature, but the intention is to use it indoors.
But it can be used actually inside if you have a pool where the chlorine, hurts the eyes and the nose and the gases. So often we've looked at this machine can go into pools to remediate the chlorine smell.
That's a good point. We've mentioned various places where it could be used. And do you have some examples of some other tests you've done, maybe nail salons or printing manufacturing, or it's not just the residential use, but there's some other commercial ramifications?
Yeah, actually, we've done commercial printing presses where the VOC levels are extremely high. Right now, we're doing hotels here in New York City. A few of the places we're actually not even allowed to discuss just because of confidentiality agreements, but we're doing some pretty high profile accounts. Museum of Modern Art, as you saw in the video. This technology has even been requested and tested by the country of South Africa. They've tested in their laboratories there with regards to tuberculosis. And I mean, that was 100% independent. We had nothing to do with that. Great results. You can download the papers online. So wherever people breathe air is where we want to be, which is pretty much everywhere. Every indoor environment needs technology like this. And We've been working away. Go
We've
ahead.
had it also in dentistry. We've had it in fish markets because of the orders. Pretty much everywhere.
Special care homes. Yeah.
Nursing homes, yes, we've done big studies in nursing homes.
Great. I've got another comment question from Dave in the chat. Not sure if it was covered, but what is the power consumption and the noise level?
Noise level's pretty low. I've got them running in the background here, and you can't hear them, I'm sure. As far as power consumption goes, the power supply that supplies it it's under 2 amps, so very minimal. The two functioning components that pull most of the power are an efficient fan that we have on the inside and a water pump that keeps the water churning, that creates that waterfall effect. So that's really what's drawing the power, is those two components. That's it.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah. Is it possible to add a fragrance?
Well, no.
No, it has chemicals and
It'll destroy the fragrance. It'll
Yeah.
break down the chemical composition of the fragrance.
right.
And then there is a question here from Catherine. Is there embargo on Clean Air Zone in regards to reporting on it? I guess this sounds too good to be true is maybe what we're at. And so maybe that's just reiterating the stage you are in as a company, and you're not full throttle retail yet, but looking for those partners. And once, because I think once it comes out and is available, just based on the presentation, there's a lot of areas where it can be utilized, and COVID's not going away, so a catalyst to moving things quickly.
So I think to answer Catherine's question, no. I mean, feel free to report away, which is part of the reason why we're having the news conference, of course. You know what? If you wouldn't mind, guys, we did have a question earlier. I think it was from about the pricing. I know you mentioned it. Geez, I have it on the task here. The person who asked the question had to jump off. So maybe if you wouldn't mind, talk about the pricing one more time.
Sure. I mean, the retail price right now, it is $14.95. But that again, it will depend very much on the manufacturing and the distributorship and the mass market that we'll be putting it through. But it is suggested to be at $14.95.
And Suzanne's asking Stefan a question as well. So you'd have a partner bring it to the consumer market. You are actively looking for a manufacturer?
Although we do have a few manufacturers that are ready for us to manufacture, we are always open to additional manufacturers.
Yeah, just to clarify that, this isn't something that's still in design phase. I mean, it's pencils down, design is done, final prototype analysis is done, DFM, design for manufacturing analysis is done. The manufacturers we've been working with are the primary ones are located right here in Eastern USA. They have all the design files, the molds are, we're pretty much ready to pull the trigger. Obviously, timing is everything. We have also backup manufacturing partners, one located in Eastern Canada, with other options that we have explored overseas. But the goal of the company, obviously, we're an American-based research and design development company, is to keep all that right here on US soil.
There's another question from Pesto Champion. What type of carbon footprint does it have? I think you briefly mentioned before something similar.
I don't have the exact answer you're looking for on that, but through the design process, we have been very sensitive to making sure that we're being responsible when it comes to development. The selection of the materials that we use is one consideration. So obviously, we're not cutting down trees to make filters. We're not mining mercury to make bulbs, so that's why we didn't go that route. There are plastic components to it. We've tried to keep it as recyclable as possible, but this is not a disposable unit. This is a unit that's been designed for a long life cycle and with recyclable materials, and it's been designed to last a good 15, 20 years. Also, like a lot of products we see in the market today where, if it breaks down, you throw it out. We've made sure that if a component like a fan goes or a pump, that's a replacement item. This isn't a disposable unit. So it's designed to be fixed and repaired in field.
Okay, here's another question comment from Farouk. A number of air conditioning companies have filters in them now for a consumer. How do I decide between, say, a $2,000 AC system and yours, which cleans but presumably doesn't provide the cooling?
Okay, so the question is deciding between an AC system, which
I guess comparing your product versus an AC system's filter that says they clean out pollutants and probably like apples to oranges, maybe?
Yeah, it's not even the same comparison. I mean, what is the filter taking out? If it's taking out, if all it's taking out is dirt and dust, which typically is all they're taking out, it's not even taking out superfine particles. It's not going to handle the VOCs. It's not going to handle mold, all these allergens and things like that. Just do the side-by-side comparison. Go on the website, take a look at what we're taking out. It doesn't even compare.
Okay. Anybody else, folks? We're at 2:44 here. Oh, there's another one. He's going to check out the website, Farouk. So
Great.
Well, thank you for the questions.
It sounds like this, you could use this in a very proactive manner as opposed to a reactive in a household or, going out and fighting these things with all the, I'm thinking if your home has mold and you're trying to sell it, one of the things you could probably do is put that in the home before you sell it to get rid of your mold as an option and clean, help clean the house.
Well, yes, we want to be very careful in what we're communicating, though. This system doesn't fix a mold problem that's in the walls, so obviously remediation is encouraged, and but it will help out if the mold is there.
Thank you for clarifying.
Brian, there's one more question from Pesto Champ.
So how does it compare to using a HEPA filter unit?
Great, good question. So again, if we go back to the fundamentals of how filters work, my background is in filtration, water filtration initially. Filters all work pretty much the same. It's a physical barrier with a pore size. Depending on the pore size, that tells you what size particles it's going to trap. The finer the pore size with HEPA, it's pretty fine. The quicker they're going to plug up. Once a HEPA filter or any filter for that point goes, once they plug up, you lose airflow. When you lose airflow, you lose your ability to filter the air. So we see a huge reduction in efficiency on these systems. And aside from that, there's still things that they don't grab. They still have their limitations. We're filtering down to 0.0001 microns in size. And this is something that HEPA can't touch. And again, no loss of efficiency with this system. There is no filter to get plugged up. There is no filter to change. So there's several major benefits over HEPA.
And the response was wow with an exclamation point.
Yeah, that's how we feel too.
Well, that might seem like a good natural place to stop here unless someone else has any additional questions. And as we said at the top of this, we're happy to provide more information if you're interested in maybe a one-on-one conversation to learn more with either Corey or Stefan. We're happy to facilitate that and be at CES all week long as well.
We're there.
That's right. Thank you, everyone.
Guys, thank you so much really for your time. Best wishes to all of you for what promises to be a truly unique CES week. And we look forward to seeing all of you in person this time for CES 2022.